Bearwalker by Joseph Bruchac. Chapter 23. Stones. How does a human being turn into a bearwalker? One who can put on the skin of an animal. Maybe it's not the how that is as important as the why. Why would someone want to walk away from being human? I know there's no easy answer to this. There's probably more than one answer. To get something or to get away from something. Power and pain. I'm not a trained tracker. Even though I'm Mohawk, I've spent less time in the woods than the average Boy Scout. And just because I was born Indian doesn't mean I have the instinctual knowledge, like a spider who knows how to spin a web just because it's a spider. But I do have the things that my elders have been teaching me. Two things in particular that I've been told by my parents, by Great Uncle Jules, and by Grandma Kateri. Look and listen. Simple enough, it seems, but hard to do and do right. I started looking and listening as soon as I found Mr. Osgood's bloody kerchief. I knew he hadn't dropped it by accident. It was weighed down by a stone, so it would stay where it was out in plain sight. A marker. A decoy to draw away from my trail, the one Mr. Osgood must have been seen approaching up the mountain. When a person or an animal comes upon a flock of baby grouse, fluffy, vulnerable little things, the first thing that happens is that the mother grouse will hop out in plain sight. She'll be dragging one wing, which seems to be broken. And that person or hungry animal will concentrate on her because she seems such easy prey as she flops along, just barely keeping ahead of that predator. But it's all an act. When she's far enough away and the chicks have had time to escape, she'll leap up into flight. Mr. Osgood, though, wasn't pretending to be hurt. I couldn't run away and leave him. That stone on his handkerchief had given me an idea. Off to the side of the trail was a scatter of other stones that had broken off a ledge. I searched through them, hefting them until I found several that fit in my hand easily. All about the size of a lacrosse ball, but twice as heavy. I loaded my pockets. Then I followed the trail that Mr. Osgood had left. I didn't know what I could do to help, but I had to try. And now that I've found the first place on a muddy section of the trail where a big footprint overlays Mr. Osgood's smaller boot print, I'm heartened just a little by what I see. Even though Walker Whitebear's heart and spirit are twisted, his aims those of a pitiless predator, his footprints are still those of a human being. I look around. I know this place well, a little too well. It's where the mother bear picked me up and tossed me aside like an unruly cub. I put a hand up to my aching shoulder. She hadn't meant to hurt me. If she'd wanted to do that, I wouldn't be standing here now. In a strange way, that pain in my shoulder felt reassuring, like a connection. If only it was. I could use the strength and size of a mother bear right now. Instead, all I have is the determination to do what I can to protect an old man I hardly know, but who already feels like an uncle to me. I know that the mother bear and her two cubs should be miles from here by now. No way would they stick around with all the human activity. Although, on the other hand, bears are curious creatures and sometimes watch us humans as we stumble about in their forest, probably with amusement. I put my hand into my pocket and feel the little wooden bear. I don't bring it out. I just trace its outline with my thumb and forefinger. My relative, I say in a quiet voice, take pity on me again. Help me if you can. Do I see something dark and furry off to the side of my vision among the trees? I'm not sure, but I don't turn to look. I start down the trail. Somehow, despite his bad leg, Mr. Osgood has kept ahead so far. But I know it's just a matter of time before his bloodthirsty pursuer catches up to him. I have to hurry. As it is, I almost hurry too much. Luckily, though, my ears save me. You can't escape me! At the sound of that voice so deep and growling it barely seems human, I stop myself just in time before I blunder around the turn in the steep trail just ahead. I drop low and look around the rock face. Just below me is a chilling scene. Mr. Osgood has fallen, his bad leg twisted under him. He's holding up a stick that he must have been using as a cane. It's not going to be much help against the wide-shouldered, hulking figure that is taking one slow step after another toward him. "You're mine," the Bearwalker growls again. His voice shakes the air around him like a rumble of thunder. He raises the saw-edged knife high in one hand, ready to slash down. It is as dramatic and terrifying as any scene from a horror film. Until my first stone throw thwacking him in the back of his head spoils the effect. He doesn't fall, though. Goliath he might be, but I'm not doing as well in the part of David as I'd hoped. I've surprised him, but he's not even stunned. He whips his head around to stare up at me. His mouth gapes open to show those sharp teeth of his. His glare is so evil that it almost paralyzes me. Not quite, though. I wing my second stone. He ducks to the side, but it still glances off his cheek, drawing blood. "Arrgh!" he roars, but I refuse to be scared. "Onyataga!" I yell back in Mohawk. "Rancid meat." It's an old insult that Grandma Kateri taught me. I put all the scorn and contempt that I possibly can into my voice, knowing that will be even more insulting to one whose aim is to cause terror. His leap in my direction is even faster than I expect. Only the fact that I'm uphill keeps him from reaching me, and the loose stones that he slips on are all that stop him from catching up to me. I turn and scramble back up the slope as fast as I can, the Bearwalker close behind me, my death in his enraged eyes.